Hello, and we are back with another post-commentary video. This time it's Nikke. This is Missilis Tower 360, which is Mother Whale, which, not a very fun time. I had previously cleared the Tetra Tower Mother Whale. I don't know if I have a recording of that. I think that was also floor 360. I think Pilgrim's is 340, but Pilgrim Tower is kind of a joke. We have so many good characters. The strategy here is I'm using Schoolgirls plus Treasure Laplace, Ein, and Leader. And the main goal that's different about this fight versus the Tetra version that I did was one, I don't have Alice and Blanc and Rouge, so I can't get away with having nice characters. Two, I was reminded that a lot of Mother Whale's annoying mechanics are directly linked to its core still being unbroken, and so the strategy was to try and break it as fast as possible. You can see I was not able to break it before the second wave spawned, and so both Laplace and Tia died. We had to do a little retry. So that's the reason why I'm using Laplace's burst first. Ein's burst really doesn't do anything at this beginning phase. Also, when the shield comes up, Laplace can't do any damage, so I'd rather get Laplace's damage in now since she is Iron Code and the boss is a Water Code boss. So when its shield comes up, Ein and Naga are the only two that can deal damage because they're both Electric Code. You can see here, we kind of took a beating with these bombs from the summon ports. That's another reason why you want to destroy them early on. Nice part damage getting rid of them. But I just don't have that luxury. I was able to utilize some of the tech from the Tetra Tribe Tower, which was with a taunter like Ludmilla in that case, or in this case with Tia. You actually can do this neat thing where if a Nikke taunts the bombs, if they are firing when they taunt, it'll taunt to the HP, meaning you can then take cover and the bombs will impact but not do any damage to the cover. Instead, they're trying to do damage to HP, but because you can't take HP damage unless it's a pierce attack while in cover, you just don't take any damage. And the same is true in reverse. If you taunt the bombs while your Nikke is covered and then they go into shooting mode, it will try and damage their cover, but since they are firing, they are unable to take that cover damage. You can see there, I tried to burst with Ein first. I was just mashing, and Laplace was not able to do any damage. Thought we'd watch the cutscene again. But the other reason why I use Laplace's burst first is because the timing is actually quite nice with this team, to where once our first full burst ends and our second full burst starts, most of the time it's timed pretty well to where Ein's burst will end up killing the first wave of little trash mobs that spawn in. You can see, like, right here. All but... oh, this time 3 of them survive, but the last attempt, there was only 1 that survived. And you can see I did the same thing where Tia was going to die, so I covered on her, and she was able to survive because the bombs were hitting her cover for no damage. We were unable to break the core again this time, so it's kind of a game over. We lost both our burst ones. I think I'm gonna give it a few more shots in this recording, and then eventually I make the big brain play that's called I'm fighting at a C. Oh, no, it's right here. I am fighting at a CP deficit. Let's see how much it is. I think it's about 40,000, something like that. I think I have like something like 720 or 70,000 or 700,000. And the recommended power is around 740,000. So I figure Tia's probably going to be the easiest bang for my buck as far as combat power increase. I had some spare rocks, and I haven't been upgrading a lot of gear recently, so I have plenty of experience there. Yep, we're at 735 now. So just going to overload these. Very convenient. Doesn't really matter what substats we get. Although I do get pretty lucky on some high CP value substats, of course getting critical damage and charge damage. So now we're at 749,922, I think is what it said. That should be just over the recommended CP, puts us in the blue, and removes our damage penalty. So things should go much smoother now. Same strategy as last time, kind of alternated between whether or not I wanted to spam shot with Ein or whether or not I wanted to do full charge shots, because she has a skill 2, I believe it is, that does a bit more damage if you full charge with her. And also with the new burst gauge thing, well, not new, it's pretty old at this point. It is sometimes better to do full charges. As you can see, Laplas and Tia both got very low there, but we were able to utilize the tech of covering in order to keep them alive. And that time, only one of the small ads was still alive. Now, here, I believe, yep, I am just too late again. So, seconds too late. It's kind of all over. I thought about maybe continuing for a brief moment, since we still had Leader and Naga, but without Laplas, we really don't have a consistent burst rotation. Tia, maybe I could sacrifice, but she provides some nice damage buffs and complements Naga pretty well. So, same strategy as last time, just gotta burst as fast as you can, gotta get Laplas there, and then try to make sure I do as many core shots as possible. When Ein gets targeted, it does get kind of rough because my auto-lock cursor will jump down to try and hit the projectiles, since they take priority. But, once again, we're just gonna Ein burst, and we actually right here timed it to now the other mob is still alive. So last time it was the one on the right side, this time it's the one on the left side. I've broken the core, so then I just finished off that mob with the hit count attack. And now that the core is broken, none of these mobs have their invincibility. So we can just take them down with Laplas. Very important. They have a lot of really strong attacks. And we're just doing attacks here. Mother will fly over, hit us with a big team-wide AoE. Luckily our cover survives, and Leader will start repairing that, so we should be good. We're able to full burst again with Ein, and now we're just focusing on taking out the summoning ports, because that's nice part damage. These guys do spawn in here, and it is kind of unfortunate the way that the rotation lined up to where I don't have Ein's burst for this. Instead we have to use Laplas's burst. I maybe should have held off on using her burst, but oh well. Tia unfortunately dies to the taunt, but things are still looking good, and it didn't matter in the end because we were able to do enough damage with that last full burst with Ein to finally take down Mother Whale.
Class is over. What do you say we go back and enjoy the festival again?
I think that's a great idea, Naga. Just a little damage stats over here. I always think it's interesting to see how much damage exactly characters did and how much damage they took. And now we're gonna go to some gear. So the fun part here is this might not even end up being in the video. I realized that you can't see my dolls. So to do that, we just gotta go to the home screen. Luckily, most of these characters are pretty high up. And I've just got a doll on Naga, just an R doll. Going over the stats and everything like that, and including the manufacturer bonuses, because I feel like that's something that's not always included, but it is still stat points that can make a difference. Moving on to Laplas. Not really a point in showing hers, it's a maxed out treasure, but I guess it is nice just to see it there. She actually doesn't have amazing overload lines. Actually, none of these characters have amazing overload lines, in all honesty. A lot of my Missilis characters have sort of been neglected. I just don't use them as much. Ein has a phase 10 SR doll, and she actually has pretty decent lines. She's got a nice mix of attack and ammo and elemental damage. So she was, well, I don't know if she's the real MVP, but she was definitely a key player, being able to do consistent damage the entire time. Tia also has an R doll, just to have it for bonus stats. A little bonus. And of course, we overloaded her helmet and gloves in the middle. And finally, Leader. I briefly considered clicking on her gear, then I realized it's not overloaded, so it doesn't matter. And she also has a doll, just because I had some left over, and I decided I'd give it to her. Seemed very useful for stuff like this. And now, here's the most exciting part of the video. I'm going to try, unsuccessfully, to try and scroll back to floor 361 so you can see what the power is before I realize you can just click on it. And it'll show you.